Hi everyone, Teresa Aker here from Success Diaries with Teresa Aker. It's my privilege today to introduce you to Matt Harrington. How you doing, Matt?
I'm well. Thank you for having me today.
I am so glad you're here today. And Matt, I'm just going to do your biography and then I'm going to come back to you. So just give me a second here.
Sure.
And so Matt is, I'm going to open up here. Matt Harrington is the chairman and CEO at Ammo Coding Systems, executive producer, host, co-creator, and director at It's in My DNA, and TV show host, creator at Chicago Under Fire. So let's talk about the beginning. Matt, we talked before the show about a few things. I want to take it from where you got started, where you are now, and where you're going.
Okay. So where I got started in my political and business life was actually 1979, working on the exchange floors here in Chicago, CBOE, CME, CBOT. And I end up working for the Hunt brothers and then end up running Chase Manhattan Bank's arbitrage operation. I created a new way of trading for that. And we made $1 billion in 3 years that I was running it. I didn't make the billion. Chase made the billion, but I got 5%. That's good enough.
That's a lot of money.
Yeah, but you got to pay IRS and everybody
Oh,
else. I
yeah.
mean, that's twice.
Yeah. I'm in
But I
Canada.
love
We
them.
have to pay it here too.
Yeah, so you understand. But during that time, because you get done at 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock in the afternoon, and there's only so much drinking you can do at that age. And so after 10 years of following the usual broker, I end up getting into the family business of politics. My family's been in politics forever. They've been 7 of the mayors of Chicago, including Harrison's, the first one that was ever assassinated, who's also related to Lincoln, which is my cousin, who was the first president assassinated. John F. Kennedy is my first cousin. Uh, so you can see some of the similarities that go on here.
Oh,
Uh,
yes.
and as people know, as the former 46th president is my cousin as well. To be in politics is life in Chicago. You're either in it or out. During that time, I started running campaigns, getting better. Also, I had to get involved with real estate. People just loved me being around and developing things. So I built high rises, I built condominiums inside Old Town and North Center and stuff like that, changing the skyline of Chicago, really creating some great properties. But also during my life, I had to be involved with helping people at the most critical times in their lives. I was a kidney donor to a young Black woman that I did not know. I just happened to do it. I also been awarded from the city of Chicago, the police department, and many other people, the Red Cross, acts of heroism for saving people's lives. I provided CPR a half a dozen times. One time I had to jump from the front of an L car to another car that actually I would have been in if the guy would have let me in the car to begin with. And I had to perform CPR to a person that had a major heart attack at that time.
Oh,
She
my
did not
goodness.
live. It was a massive myocardial infarction. All I was doing was push around blood at that time. But those are just some of the things. The very first life I ever saved was a 4-year-old girl. And I'll tell you this quick little story on this one because I think it's really fascinating how God, or whatever you want to call it, right? I believe, yeah, in a God. I am not a Bible thumper. I believe God wants action, not words. So put in place action and you're doing God's work, right? Anyways, I was going to go on a cattle drive with one of my colleagues from work, like city slickers. We
Okay.
go out to, right? Oh, yeah. We go to Steamboat, Colorado. The place was in Clark, Colorado, just north of Steamboat. And
Okay.
we fly into Denver. For some reason, I changed our reservations for a day ahead of time. We're not supposed to be there Sunday. I said we had to be there Saturday. We get into Denver. And the first thing I keep telling my friends, we got to get to this Best Western up in Steamboat Free. I have no idea if there's a Best Western there because this is pre-internet time, right? This is in
Oh,
the
okay.
90s.
Okay.
No internet, no Google. I'm just assuming there's a Best Western there. So I'm driving my buddy crazy for 5 hours driving from Denver up to Steamboat. We got to get there. We got to get there. We got to get there. And we walk into the Best Western, and I turn to the guy and said, "Where's your pool?" The guy goes, "That way." I run out to the pool, and there's this 4-year-old girl drowning.
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah. Her parents were watching the little toddler jump in the water, jump out, has her back to this child. I jump in the water. I grab her out. I'm hitting the water and getting the water out of her. She comes up, she's breathes. The parents, all they see at the last second is me hitting the water.
Oh,
They come running over to try to attack me, but everybody stopped and says, no, you just saved your kid's life.
yeah, no kidding.
My buddy comes out to see what the hell's going on. He sees the people and he finds out that I just saved this girl's life. And I turned to him, I said, we can go to lunch now. The reason
Oh,
I think
wow.
that's an important story in this content is because I myself, when I was about 7, maybe 8, was taken to a medical convention by my father at that time, just down in St. Louis. Now, you don't tell a 7 or 8-year-old, wait here at the side of the pool while I go swim. We
No,
don't know the difference. We just see a pool, we want in. Right? So,
right.
like a stupid ass, I jump in the pool and I realize I can't touch bottom. And my little hand is going up like this several times, and I'm going down now for the count.
Oh my
And
goodness.
big hand pulls me up, pops the water out of me. Many years later, I was sitting around with my father and I said, I need to verify this. Did this actually happen or am I imagining this? He goes, oh no, that happened. Do you know who saved your skinny ass? And I said, no, I'm 7. What the hell do I know? He goes, Don Drysdale from the Los Angeles Dodgers.
You're kidding.
I'm not kidding.
Oh my
So
goodness.
now I think that put me on the track to save other people's lives. Like I said,
Sure.
I had did CPR half a dozen times. I pulled people out of a burning building and burning cars. I fought off a group of 4 individuals that was attacking one man. I put 2 through a plate glass window at CTA headquarters when I did that. I have a black belt in Taekwondo, a brown belt in
Oh,
Aikido. Yeah, I've studied for 20 years, so yeah, I can kill you, but I don't do that. But I defend people if I see them being attacked. So those type of things. But
fantastic. What a life.
yeah,
Thank you for
yeah,
saving all those people.
yeah,
And
some
we're
of them
glad
like
you were saved.
it. Every life worth saving. Every life is worth saving
It sure
because
is.
life is precious. Because you never know what somebody can create later in life.
Which is what
Saving
brings
stuff.
us to you because you've overcome a lot in life. You shared with me some of your stories. So let's talk about your health issues and how you went through to here.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. To get to like how I got to the TV show.
Yeah.
In 2018, I was running a guy named Tom Sienna's campaign for judge. And his family owns a very famous restaurant here in America and in Chicago, especially called Billy Goats. So
Okay.
anybody watch Saturday Night Live? Cheeseburger, cheeseburger. That's my guy. Right?
Okay.
Actually, my TV show has been filming at Billy Goats for 3 months doing
Oh, okay.
interviews down there. So people see Billy Goats when we do that. I was there. We're on a campaign now. Usually at my level, I'm like the architect. I don't go out with candidates, but it's the burger boy. And my family owned Harrington corned beef, which is pretty famous corned beef that's been around for over 60
Oh,
years.
sure. Absolutely.
So there's the burger and beef boys, we were called for a
Okay.
while. And I said, I got to go out with the burger boy. Got to go out, right? Because I want to see how he handles people. And he caught that H1N1 flu back in 18, and he gives it to me. He gets better, and I go into a coma and die, not once, but twice in the first 5 days at the hospital.
Oh my
And
goodness.
yes, I went to the other side. And that story itself is a little weird. I hope you're okay with me telling this, Trees.
I
But
can't wait till you tell us.
I go to the other side. I wake up in a cabin that we had when we were kids up by Lake Geneva. It's actually called Lake Shangri-La, which is the
Okay.
name of the lake. It borders Antioch in Wisconsin, right? Antioch, Illinois, and Wisconsin. So it's right on the border. The
Okay.
lake is half in Illinois, half in Wisconsin. And there was a little lakeside bar restaurant on the other side, which is probably 500 yards away from our cabin. And I wake up in this cabin, not realizing how I got there, but thinking I was in a car accident and I have to go call for help. So I walk over the bar, which was a much shorter distance than usual. Wow. And I get there, and the name of the bar is called the Pearly Gates.
Oh my gosh.
I walk in, and there's a guy out there says, how's it hanging? And I go, low and to the left. I go, what about you? And he goes, like a flagpole. Right? And him and this woman is calling me lad and son. And I got about that because I'm 60 something years old and you call me doctor or you call me Matt. You don't call me son or lad.
Right.
And I asked his name. He's saying, my name's Elvis. So I go, it doesn't look like you got a lot of shaking going on here, dude. And the woman says she's called Triple D, but her name's Dolores Davis.
Okay.
Later, I find out that these were my 2 parents. my biological parents, because I was adopted when I was a baby.
Isn't that something?
Yeah. And during this time, I meet another guy named Paul J. Hood. They called him PJ. PJ used to live in Aurora. I live in Aurora. He died in 2009. I moved to Aurora in 2009. He happens to be my first cousin.
Oh my
He
goodness.
is he's related, and this is the fun part. He's related to Minnie Hood. Minnie Hood is Elvis Presley's grandmother.
Oh, come on.
I'm not
That's,
kidding.
look at the
I'm not kidding.
coincidences here.
Yeah. So Elvis is my cousin. Abe Lincoln's my cousin. George Harrison is my cousin. These are the people that we're doing the first show about. So we'll get into that in a little
Oh,
second.
that's
But
fantastic.
so I'm in the bar. He takes me outside. And next thing I know, I'm in my front yard in my house in Aurora, right? Looking better than I had it because my yard has grass. Right? And then there's a string of lights that people might see in their yards. They put them up. I did not have them at the time, but they're along my fence line. And half are lit. And half of those are these bulbs that are just flickering brightly, and the other half are not. And I turned to him, I said, "What is that about?" He goes, "That is your moments of your life," meaning the bulbs that are on. I said, "The ones that are flickering?" He goes, "That's when you did something extraordinary." He said, I go, "And the other ones?" Because I'm like, I'm fucking dead, right? He goes, "We're going to decide this." And he brings me back into the bar. And that's when I get in the bar, there is this huge medieval wooden table there with five guys sitting around like they look like from the Knights Templar. One guy named Paul, one guy named Thomas, one guy named Stan, another guy named Arnold. And what I find out later, that all these are saints and they're all in my family tree.
Oh
And
my goodness.
all right, they had a discussion. They said, "We're gonna go get the pizza boy." And I'm like, "Pizza?" So I go over to get the pizza. It's an Uno's deep dish pizza with, and I remember asking Dolores, I said, "Is there mushrooms?" Because I'm highly allergic to mushrooms. And I'm thinking at the same time, this is a stupid question. When I'm dead,
Yeah.
it's not going to matter. But he said, "No, it's pepperoni and pineapple like you." I'm like, "Oh, wow. Okay." So I bring it back over. I put it on the table. And next thing, all the slices are gone and I got nothing. And then PJ comes back into the bar. He pulls me out and he says, "Is there anything that you'd like to do?" And I said, "I had this ring made. I had two of them made, one for my brother. So this is what it looks like. I don't know if you can tell. It's
Oh,
a
very
family
nice.
crest.
Thank you. We can see it.
Weighs about an ounce of silver. It's pure silver.
Okay.
I had two made, one for me, one for my brother Mike, who shared basically the same birthday. He was born 2 years apart from me. He
Oh,
was
okay.
another adopted child, Michael Harrington. Oh, Mike. So, anyways, I said, "Yeah, I had these two rings made. And if I go with you, I'm going to lose out on the money." So either God thought I was a cheap, or he said, "You got a point. You should go back." Okay. But before I went back, I said, "So what's going on?" Says Paul, and I remember this part. And he said, "Life is like a slice of pizza, and yours not stuffed enough yet."
Oh
Boom.
my
And I
God.
wake up, I'm inside the hospital. Tubes are coming out of everywhere because they had me on this life support machine, and I barely can talk. And I was like, "Can I have some water? Can you ask the director?" The nurse thinks I have enough cognitive to know that I'm in a hospital, to know that they got to get the director's permission. I think I'm in a movie.
Oh my goodness.
And then I wake up many days later, my brother's there, and I said, "What day is it?" And he tells me the day. So it's after the election. And the first words out of my mouth, "Did I win?" Meaning, did my guy win? He goes,
Yeah.
"Oh, yeah, we'll talk about," because I did something that's a Chicago normal. You make sure you take out your political enemies really fast in a race with something that they've done themselves
Oh, okay.
and highlight it. And
Yeah.
I did it for this one candidate, and it was all over the news. And
Oh my.
usually you get a hold of me because I'm a pretty known guy and they have my phone numbers. They could not get a hold of me because why? I'm in a coma.
Yeah, no kidding.
And no one's telling them that I'm in a coma because they don't want Tommy to have people vulture him and try to, because they figure if Matt's around, don't mess with him because he'll come after you.
Oh my goodness. Oh wow. What a
So
story. So you had a near-death experience a couple of times. That's amazing.
twice, yeah, twice.
Oh
And
my goodness.
so that led to a re-examination of my life a little bit. My daughter said, "If you die, I don't know where you really came from
Oh,
because you're adopted. Would you do that ancestry thing?" So we did the ancestry. We find out this amazing family tree. I get my real birth certificate because you could do that here in Illinois. They'll give that to you and stuff. I find out my real parents' names, Elvis and Dolores.
that's
So
amazing.
I did see them over there, and the saints, those are my family tree, all of them. Saint Ornoff is the funnest saint, though, I have to tell you. Saint Ornoff was from 442. He is known as the Bishop of Metz. He stopped a fire by showing his cross at the monastery that he was in. He just stared it down with a cross. And then 462 people came to visit him because he saved the ministry, and they were thirsty and there was no water because somehow he created beer out of thin air. So he became the
That's
patron
wild.
saint of brew. The Irish never had a chance.
Oh my gosh. Oh
Yeah.
my gosh. This is incredible.
Yeah. So that being the case, we did this. I wrote a book called Table for Six that will chronologize this, and it's about me, but not about me, because I could not write Matt Harrington all the time. I get very bored talking about myself. So I made a character named Matt Galvin, but based on the true events of a Chicago political kingpin, Matt Harrington.
Is it out
Because
right now, Matt, or is it
it will
coming?
be out in 2 months, I think, because they want to do it when the TV show is about to come out.
Oh, that's fantastic. So make sure you let me know and then we'll make sure we post that, okay?
I will. During my lifetime, I've saved trying to save a lot of people. I've been recognized for that by the state and
Oh,
Red
sure.
Cross and many people, from giving CPR to giving a kidney to pulling people out of a burning building, burning cars, fighting off a group of individuals that was attacking a man. I put 2 of those guys through the plate glass window of CTA headquarters. I didn't kill them, but I made them regret it.
Oh, I bet.
I have a black belt in Taekwondo, a brown belt in Aikido. I studied for 20 years. So yeah, I could kill you, but I wouldn't
So
do that. I
yeah,
just wound you.
exactly.
Yeah, because it's not worth the time.
Yeah,
Nobody's
exactly.
worth that time for me. God would
But
not like me yet.
but helping people if you can, that's great.
That's important.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's the most important thing. You got to be there for people. At least that's my belief.
sure.
And if they don't like it, that's tough crap.
Oh,
But
absolutely.
yeah, so how do I get to this TV show? All right.
Yes, let's talk about your TV show.
As Joe Biden's my cousin, I went to do a speech for Joe at Reverend Jackson's minister conference, which is seen all over the world. They have ministers from all over the world come to Chicago to be at this convention for 3 or 4 days. It's a long convention. So I was a keynote speaker on the last day. And I went up there to do the speech and I had it on my phone, had everything on my phone. And as I go up, it's not there. It just disappears.
Okay.
And if you look at the video, which people will find on YouTube, I go, give it up for the Reverend. I'm playing my old politics because you stall, right?
Yeah, sure.
I don't have it. So just wing it. And I did. And it was really an emotionally great speech. 3 minutes is more than enough to convince a group. If
Oh,
Lincoln could do it with the Gettysburg in 2.5, I could do something in 3.
oh, wow.
You don't need an hour. 3 minutes is enough.
No, well done. Well done. And we can
So
see that. I'll make sure we can put that
yeah, I'll
on
get you the
show
link.
notes.
I'll
Thank
send you the
you.
link.
Absolutely.
And then after that, Mark Busby of Film Vault Group out of the UK. They also have in Canada, with Film Vault Group Canada out of Toronto.
Okay.
It used to be called I Conjugate with Bill Greer, who was the owner. They partnered up. He did a movie that your Canadian audience would know called Was I Next? The Sean Cribbins story about the serial killer that you had up there. What was that guy,
Yes.
McCarthy? I can't remember the guy's name.
I believe you're right. That's correct.
Put them all inside people's yards and stuff like that.
That's right.
So watch that. You'll see it's an amazing documentary.
Wow.
So they found my story interesting. They found my speech motivating. They said, we should do something. So they started up first Chicago Under Fire, which would be a little bit of cops, a little bit of like Dateline, the old news stories, and
Oh, sure.
then whatever else what might be going on, the hot topics of the day in Chicago. And then we're going to go from Chicago to Dallas to New York to Miami. It's going to be like a 10-city deal.
Oh, great.
That's 10 episodes. So that's in development right now. We're probably going to get that going. I'm hoping in 3 months. But at the same time, Mark found out about my DNA stuff, and I would post some of my stuff on my Facebook
Okay.
account, like who I'm related to, just, hey, look at this type of thing. Because when you find George Washington and Thomas Jefferson, King Charles as your family members, why wouldn't you want to brag about that?
Yeah, that's exciting.
But I also point out that 30 million people could trace their roots right back to the ancestors of the Mayflower, right?
Sure.
And that might sound like a lot, 30 million, 10 million here, 30 million worldwide. But when you look at the world's population of 8 billion, that's less than 0.4%. So that's a
right.
very small number that you can to do. And it goes, my specific line goes back further than other people's because the way it is. I'm just one of those guys. I guess they want us to live longer. It might be wrong for them, but that's that. That's what my political foes they
Oh my
wish I was.
you have a great character. I can't wait to see this shows. This is going to be
Yeah.
great. Now, do you have any trailers for it by chance? Just wondering.
Yeah, we have a couple trailers out there.
Okay, so we'll make
Send you
sure we
all
can.
these little links. Because
Yeah,
I
we'll direct
apologize
that.
to your audience in advance. I had a major Facebook thing, but as people know, as I just said, that Joe
Yeah.
Biden's my cousin, and the red hats out here are trying to destroy everything I have. Because I don't take them, get ready, because we're about to go into a third world war, which we will be in probably 6 months, and we're going to go into a worldwide famine because things aren't going to be shipped. And look what's happening right now.
The world is certainly different, and I know in your opinion it's very serious. And yeah, without going into politics here
Yeah,
on my
no,
show, but I understand it is a changing world, and we have to respect that there's some
yeah,
big changes. Absolutely.
big
I'm in
change.
Canada, Matt, and
Yeah,
so it's a global world change.
yeah.
And I am sorry they took down your Facebook page there, but I know that you've got a new one there. So we'll make sure it's up there, Matt.
Get that link over that one,
And if
yeah.
people want to follow you for sure, they can absolutely
Please.
do that.
Sure.
From there, let's talk about, so on here, I know you're doing the show now. So now you've
Yeah.
got a show to do with DNA, and
Right.
you've got
Right.
your shows to do for, where do you see yourself in 5 years? What are you going to be doing?
In 5 years, be finishing the show
Yeah.
and going down to my granddaughter, I hope, Amelia, who's in Florida.
Amelia, nice.
She'll be 2 July 1st. I call her my little Yankee Doodle Dandy. So I
Aw,
call her Doodles for sure, for
doodles.
short.
I love
Yeah.
that.
You like that? Yeah. Her mother doesn't, but you know what? What are you gonna do? Her mother didn't like her nickname either. Call her Jelly Bean.
Jelly bean. Oh, that's nice too.
I thought so.
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
very nice.
But yeah, I look to do the show, finish up that. Maybe I'm open to opportunities. You never know what's going to happen. You're just there. The universe has its way of putting you in the right place, at least for me, at the right place for the right time for people or things.
Absolutely.
Just because sometimes I think of it, like when I wanted to be at the board of trade, I didn't know how I was going to be at the board of trade. Nobody in my family was ever at the board,
Oh.
but I got in. I met a friend of mine from high school, said, "Would you like a job as a runner?" And within 3 months, I knocked Bunker Hunt off the bond pit, and he hired me because
Oh my
he said,
goodness.
he goes, "Was that a big order?" I said, "What the fuck does that have to do with it? You're in my way." And I have a job to do.
Oh,
And
absolutely.
I'm hiring you.
You're amazing, Matt. I'm so glad you're on today. Now, I'm going to have all of your information on the show notes, but what is the best place to reach you, Matt, if somebody wanted to get a hold of you today?
Okay, I'm going to give you two things. You could either email me directly, which is Dr. Matt, DRMATT dot 1962 at Gmail. Or you can call me, you can reach out through WhatsApp if you have that. And my number is 312-671-1410. I'm not worried about crank calls because the worse I block you later.
Now, what are you a doctor of? Can you tell us what your title
I
is?
have a doctorate in humanities. I was given an honorary doctorate degree from a guy named Willie Wilson. I don't know if Dr. Willie Wilson, he's the guy, black man, he owns Omar Medical Supplies. He
Oh,
has a show called Singsations. He's seen all around the world.
okay.
He ran for mayor here when I first met him. And then he ran several other times for Senate and even president, and I ran his campaigns.
Sure.
But he found out everything I did. He was the chairman of the Chicago Baptist Institute, which is a predominantly black college for ministers that's been around since 1930 in Chicago. And so they want to honor me with all my community work with a doctorate. And I said, I'll take it. Thank you very much.
Very good. Oh, congratulations. Very nice. Very nice. I wondered what your doctorate was in. So that's
Yeah.
very nice. So, Matt, I have one more question for you.
Yeah.
You're doing a lot of things. Will you come back and do another episode with me?
Anytime you want, I'll be here.
Thank you so much, Matt. Everyone, this is Matt Harrington. Thank you again. It was my pleasure to have you today, my friend. To everyone else, this is Teresa Aker from Success Diaries with Teresa Aker. Do subscribe to my channel. I hope you're having a great day, and I look forward to talking to you very soon. Bye-bye now.